I'd like to introduce everyone in the order that they drew to speak. The first person making a personal statement for Kathleen Hillman will be Jennifer Robles. And the participants in the candidate forum will be Michael Garvey, Sherry Latta, Edward Cote, and Nicole Gilhooly. Edward Franson was also invited and chose not to participate. Can all of you see the timekeeper? She'll be holding up a warning card when you're down to 15 seconds, and then she'll hold a stop sign. And as I said in the first round, if you're in the middle of a sentence, please complete your thought, and that's perfectly acceptable. We will go until 8:30. Meeting attendees are welcome to pose more questions. People are walking around with cards, and they will submit them to me. I do have a number of questions here already, so we will try to make sure that everything gets covered through the evening. So we'll start with the 1-minute opening statements from all candidates. Jennifer will be speaking for Kathleen.
Good evening. Let me thank the League of Women Voters of the Grange Area for hosting this event and allowing my designated representative to read this statement in my absence due to a conflicting family obligation that prevented me from attending. My name is Kathleen Hillman. I am seeking the position of Village Trustee so that I can work with the members of our community to advance Brookfield. Our community has made some progress, but I feel that Brookfield could be so much more. We are no longer the bedroom community on the outskirts of Chicago. We are the perfect location for those that work in the city and the suburbs, and our village's amenities need to reflect that. My fellow Slate members have truly inspired me to put my energies into this endeavor. I am not a politician. I am not an advocate. I will work for all that Brookfield can be. I have been that resident that feels that the issues and concerns of its residents are not addressed properly. I have felt the frustration of increased taxes and feeling they are not efficiently being applied to the most critical issues addressing the majority of our residents. It is my hope that with the change in administration and a fresh new approach to doing business with and in Brookfield, a better Brookfield can be achieved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Michael?
Good evening. My name is Mike Garvey. I am currently a village trustee and I'm seeking re-election. Previously, I served 8 years as village president, and due to our term limits ordinance, I could not run again. I was very happy to have Kit Ketchmark run for that position, and I fully support Kit in that office. I also served 5 years as trustee previously in the late 90s and early 2000s. I'm born and raised here in Brookfield. My wife Barb is also born and raised in Brookfield. Barb currently serves on the District 95 School Board and previously served on the Library Board. My ties to this community are very strong. My parents are still here. My sister-in-law still lives in town. I'm very active in the community. I coach Little League. I volunteer at Project Nice for the Kiwanis Club. I'm also a president of the St. Louis to Merrillac School Board. I'm an attorney. I have my own law firm. I'm a partner in the same law firm that I've worked for 27 years. I'm a graduate of the University of Illinois College of Law and DePaul University, and I would appreciate your support in my re-election bid.
Next would be Sherry.
Hi, my name is Sherry Latta. This is all new for me. I have lived in Brookfield now for about 4 years. I used to live in Stickney. I grew up in Berwyn. My son is a junior over at LT. I hope that, I'm sorry, I wanted to say thank you to the League of Women Voters. But for me, this is a new adventure. I hope that I can, if elected, be able to make the residents here in Brookfield proud, be able to listen to what their concerns are, be able to come and bring it back to the board, and hopefully then make some resolutions to those issues. I don't know, I know Mr. Garvey here from Little League, Kit Ketchmark from the town, but also I'm a member of the Brookfield VFW. I'm a veteran. I also am a nurse and I work over at Hines VA Hospital. I also volunteer with the Brookfield Little League, helping out the concession stand, not only because I can get my money back a little bit, but also because I like to volunteer, and that's working with the kids and being involved in baseball. I also work with St. Mary Cell, the homeless shelter. My plan, this is my last year, I want to start to help out within the community as far as the homeless shelters here, since I do have the experience either at St. Louis or at St. Barb's. Not so much, I've not been involved in any of the other projects. I did help out once with a bike rodeo, but I like to be active in the community.
Edward Cote?
Hi, I'm Edward Cote. I'm a veteran in the United States Navy. I'm currently employed with Verizon as an engineer for IT security and compliance. I've been a resident in Brookfield for 12 years now. While living here, I've become very active in our community. I am a commissioner in Brookfield, currently serving as a co-chairperson for Parks and Recreation. I am an active volunteer through Adopt a Spot Project Nice. I've managed many teams in Brookfield Little League Softball, Brookfield Little League Baseball. I've also volunteered a lot of my time through our local YMCA, coaching basketball and baseball. I volunteered through Faith Lutheran Church here in Brookfield. I served on their council as vice president. I was also served as their maintenance chair. I volunteer through Faith Lutheran's food pantry that services our local community and our surrounding areas. I look forward to serving our community as a village trustee. I believe in an honest, responsible leadership, which is committed to improving Brookfield. And thank you for showing up, and thank you to the League of Women Voters.
Thank you. Nicole?
Hi, my name is Nicole Gilhooly. I've lived in Brookfield for 12 years with my husband Dennis and our 3 children. I'm a graduate of Loyola University Chicago and have a professional background in information technology, process improvement, management consulting, and environmental research. I also have experience in independent school enrollment management, admissions, and marketing. I'm completing my first term as village trustee and serve as liaison to the Parks and Recreation Commission and the Brookfield Library. I'm also a member of the village's Active Transportation Committee. Prior to the village board, I was a member of the Brookfield Beautification Commission and also served as chair. I led the Adopt a Spot volunteer program and several Project Nice village-wide cleanup events and completed the application and presentation that led to a first place win for a Governor's Hometown Award. I'm a volunteer coach for youth basketball and soccer and volunteer for Brookfield Little League. At Brook Park School, I lead the Picture Person art program and am a member of the Illinois Art Education Association. I'm also an active volunteer at Essie Gross Middle School. I believe that strong leadership, solid financial management, continued development of our business districts, and focus on quality of life are key to growing our community to be its best. I'm happy to be running for office with my fellow PEP candidates, and a vote for PEP is a vote for progress. And thank you all for being here this evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters.
Thank you. I would like to combine, I think these are probably the same issues, and some of them are maybe part of the purview of a trustee, but I guess they're really just a general issue of what your feelings are and if you see any possibilities for what can be done. So someone is asking, describe the grant process and what you foresee applying for and why over the next year or two. But then we have a couple questions, and I'm sure they're related to this because I know this from my own town. Do you feel it's the responsibility of homeowners to pay for sidewalks, which I know some villages co-sponsor, and there could be grants involved there? Is there a plan to ever pave the alleys? And someone is asking if you happen to know the most recent dollar amount projected to improve the alleys. I think those are all kind of interrelated. So alleys and sidewalks, and I guess where do you see the money coming from? And I think if people need it, I think we should give them 2 minutes to answer this question.
2 minutes.
So you don't have to use it if it's really not your thing, or you think set us straight. Michael, you are first.
Okay, with the grant process, we've been very successful in getting grants over the past decade or so. We have in-house staff members that write grants. When I first came into office, we had hired personnel that got a commission as well as a monthly salary to write grants. We brought in staff that writes the grants, applications, and President Ketchmark cited all the figures. I'm not going to repeat that. The grants are targeted for specific things. Some of them are federal government grants, some of them are state and county grants. We feel that we've gotten more than our share of local grants compared to other communities because of the advanced planning that we've done. We created an open space planning, so we get more park grants. We've done commuter planning, so we get the grants to improve the train station. Grants aren't just a matter of luck and putting it out there, it's the preparation and putting the groundwork in to get that done. In terms of the alleys, we have attempted to deal with the alleys through the special assessment process. We know the alleys need to be done, but it is a matter of what is the priority. The streets, the residents trusted us and passed a street referendum. We're going to be doing work over the next 10 years, and people are going to feel that on their tax bills. If someone has a solution to come up and pay for it, I'm open to it. We've listened to it over the years, other than a special assessment. If there was a grant, we'd go after it. Typically, there are not grants for that. $45 million is the basic figure to do all the remaining alleys in the Village of Brookfield. So on top of the street referendum we just passed, we can't go back and ask the residents for another $45 million. Improved maintenance, the new equipment we got, new maintenance styles, and the ability, because we're going to be spending less time working on the streets and patching the streets because the voters trusted us, we're going to have more time to focus on the alleys and do work on the alleys and maintain them better so they will look a little bit better going forward. I would love to pave everyone's alley. Anyone that tells you they can do it, ask them where the $45 million comes from.
Sherry?
Yes, I agree. As far as as far as the grants go, yes, you're gonna be a special writer for that. You need to know the verbiage and the correct way of submitting grants. I do not have experience in that. Sorry, I'm a nurse and I just never got into, that's why they have the people here in town already that can write the grants. So I agree with Michael 100% on that. When it comes to the alleys, yes, my alley is one of those that I get a river in there, and it seems like it's right by my alley, right by my garage door. Do we need improvement? Yes, on that, as far as, grading and being more diligent in doing that, I agree, yes, we do. But as far as paving goes, I know it's an expensive adventure. I don't have any solutions for that, but in the meantime, I think that it would just be great just to have them graded. When it comes to the sidewalks, I don't know many towns that actually pay. We do the 50-50, I believe, here in town. So, I mean, if your sidewalk is that bad, then it's something that maybe you can look into and talk to someone at the town. I don't have a resolution for that. It's not a cheap thing to have done either.
Thank you, Edward.
As I said before, we have groups of people that do the grants. They go out and they search for the grants. Are there more grants out there? There's always more grants out there. There's not like some gold book to, these are all the grants that are out there, so you constantly want to look. But we have people that do constantly go out and look. And they've used those grants. That's why we have such a great park in Eller Park. That's why we have Veterans Park. That's why we have a lot of these things, a canoe launch. Writing the grants, I'm not a grant writer either, but there are other grants out there. I did want to look into more green grants as far as for the alleys. I wanted to look into more green grants as far as the alleys were concerned, looking into possibilities. There were possibilities at one time. That might all change now because of the EPA thing with the national level, but there were times where they were trying to offer grants to allow you a little bit of money to green up your area, and you could use that to help at least with the edges of the alleys. We use permeated bricks, and you could add plantation to the areas. And time will tell depending on what happens with the EPA, but they were offering some items towards that. I'd like to look down and do that. But as far as the alleys are concerned, as getting them all paved, $45 million is just too much to go back and ask the taxpayers. So we have to continue with the streets down the path that we're at now. And if we can solve that with another issue, then by all means, we're open to that.
Thank you. Nicole?
Okay, I'm not a grant expert either, but I do know that one of the reasons why we've been very successful in winning and being awarded so many of these grants, and they are very competitive grants, is that we have done the work, and our economic development department and our staff has done the work to lay the groundwork that makes us look like worthy candidates for these grants that we're winning. So that's very important. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make Brookfield look really good to these organizations that, whether it's state, county, federal, that do have money to give away. They want to give it away to the right organization. And so we're doing the right work on the back end there. Yes, I agree with Ed as well about looking for some opportunities maybe in the green area for sidewalks, but for alleys in particular. If you're not familiar, there is a pilot alley project that's been done behind Advanced Auto, and that was done in conjunction with the developer agreement there when that project went in. So take a look at that. There are opportunities for us to look at the alleys in kind of more segmented ways, so that if there are alleys maybe in a more commercial area, perhaps there's a way to pave some of those with new developer agreements with new businesses coming in. So depending on the size of the business, that may work out if it's more of a national chain. I'm a homeowner in Brookfield. My alley is also unpaved, so I understand and feel that pain. $45 million is a lot of money. What we are trying to do is trying to alleviate some of those problems for our residents with new equipment like the new grader that we've got, and other new equipment that's there to help dry up some of those potholes that fill up with that rainwater before they can get filled, and it allows us to get to them a little bit quicker. So there are some steps being done to help alleviate some of that inconvenience.
Thank you. I know many of you spoke to, in your opening statement, what you've been involved in, but some residents are asking again, what have you specifically been involved in Brookfield? And then how would you get more people involved in projects that you're involved in? How would you get more people coming to board meetings to express their opinions? And if you are a candidate who is not currently on the board, did you try to bring some of your ideas to any board meetings or bring them up with any of the current board members or the current administration? So the first person will be Sherry, correct?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I said before, as far as volunteering goes, right, that was the first part of it?
Right.
What we've done, okay. Okay, so I volunteered help with the Brookfield Little League, working the concession stands, helping with the Babe Ruth, the Western Conference over at Ellert. I am a member of the Lyons Township High School Booster Board. As far as really volunteering, getting with the NICE program, things like that, no, I have not. I've helped with the bike rodeo through the Brookfield Elks before. Just getting out into the neighborhood. What was the other part of the question?
If you
How to get others
have
involved?
some good ideas how to get people involved, and you yourself, have you been successful in attending board meetings or commissions and expressing some of your ideas to the board?
As far as getting others to volunteer, it's more like a word of mouth. If you're excited and are engaging, then that helps others to be able to want to feel excited as well. I help out with the VFW and their events that we have, and our picnics. So I think that if you engage others and you're excited about what you're doing, then they're going to be excited as well. Steps.
Thank you. Edward?
I'm very active in our community. I am co-chairperson on the Parks and Recreation Board right now. I do volunteer at our local food pantry at Faith Lutheran. By all means, anybody you know who has issues, please point them to that direction. I do volunteer a lot through Brookfield Little League. I manage both softball, baseball, in the spring, in the fall. I've helped out with Chicago Sunday League baseball. I volunteered a lot through the YMCA doing basketball and baseball. My kids have aged out of most of their programs. I volunteer a lot through the school district as well. Recently with the book fairs items that Melissa Bowen was putting together for SC Gross. My volunteer time, I spend a lot of time volunteering in this community. How do you get other people involved? There is no secret. I wish I knew the secret to that, because I see the same volunteers at everything. You see the same people doing the same things, and you see them at the school boards. You see them at the baseball games. You see them 10 o'clock at night cleaning the field after the baseball games. You see the same people doing the same things. I wish I could get them all. As far as board meetings go, I attend a lot of village board meetings. I'm here almost every Monday, it's every other Monday, but so I'm here almost every other Monday for all these meetings, so I'm always here.
Thank you. Nicole?
So I mentioned a lot of my volunteer work early on in my opening, but so yeah, I have volunteered since we moved here 12 years ago, being involved at all different levels of the community. Through Project Nice is probably one of my earliest events there, and it's been going on for over 20 years now that project's been going on, and we've been involved ever since we moved here. It's a wonderful community event with over 300 volunteers that come out every spring to do that. So I'm proud of being involved with that, as well as the Adopt a Spot program, which is a spot you can clean up around town and kind of own that as your family. I think it's really important as your family and as a community to be really engaged with your community and feel part of it. You should feel ownership in your community. You should care about it. You should care about your parks. You should care about your streets. My daughter has been involved so long with the Project Nice. If we're walking along and she sees a piece of garbage on the ground, Mommy, Project Nice! And we have to pick it up, of course. So, these things should be ingrained, I think, and not just in our children, but in all of us. In terms of community engagement, there's a lot of different ways that I encourage people to get engaged and that you can get engaged with. And that comes from either attending a board meeting, attending a commission meeting, coming to one of the engagement sessions that our staff puts on for all these planning projects, from comprehensive plan, active transportation plan, for the street referendum. All of these things are open to our residents. It's a great way. It might not be strictly like volunteer, but it's a great way to get engaged and included with things going on in the village.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you. I mentioned some of my community involvement earlier. I wish my wife Barb was here because she could verify how much I volunteer and how much she volunteers, because there's a running joke that we could never go to the same place in the same car because people will talk. We are very involved in our community. I mentioned some things earlier. And a lot of it revolves around my boys. I have 3 sons, but I coached basketball for the RB High School feeder program. I think I mentioned earlier, I'm the president of the school board at St. Louis. I've also, the people that I tend to associate, how you get other people involved, I don't seem to have that same problem, because the people that I associate with are Nicole and Ed and my friends in the pep party. I don't know which came first, we came together or we're all volunteers together. But these are the people that you see at the events. They're doing the things on Saturday mornings and late at night, cleaning up the fields and doing other things. So we try to lead by example. I think the people that come out and do things are the people that are committed to their community. None of us are in it for the financial gain or anything else. We care about the community. And as Nicole pointed out, we're setting an example for our children. And I think I've seen it with Nicole's children, I've seen it with my children. My son is working his way up to his Eagle Scout, and I haven't been involved in his scouting troop so much, but I became a merit badge counselor recently, but his scout troop has turned him into a leader, and he's going to be a future leader in his community, and he has the example that he's seen with myself, his mom, and the people that we hang out with. So there is that responsibility to make future leaders through example.
Thank you. The next, this question was asked of the presidents as well, but I'd like your opinion on the Cook County new ordinance on sick time and minimum wage. Would you support an ordinance allowing Brookfield to opt out of that? And the first person would be Edward.
I would support to opt out of it. I think it's too much of an impact on our local businesses. I agree with what Kit said. I think that's too big of an impact to go. There's a definite waterfall effect, and I think it should be handled at a state or at a national level, but not county by county.
Nicole?
I'm not sure there's much more I can say to that. I agree with Ed and the points that were made earlier, that going county by county doesn't really make sense.
Okay. Michael?
I agree also. I think some of these things become symbolic gestures that county boards and things look to stand out between different things. Obviously, we have issues at the state and federal and county level in terms of leadership and management. I think some of these things that they drop on our lap to become, politically convenient for them to take a stand on certain issues when they should be focusing on other issues. the competitive disadvantage that you would create. There's already competitive disadvantages between Cook County and DuPage County. And furthering that, you know, we're not necessarily a border town with Cook and DuPage, but we already face the sales tax issues, the differences between Cook and DuPage County. Putting individual counties competing against each other on that basis, I don't think is an appropriate function of local government.
Thank you. Sherry?
Yes. So, yeah, I agree with what everyone has said. You know, I don't think that in our local community or county that here, I don't think that not say that it wouldn't apply, but I think that it should just stay like it is right now.
Okay, thank you. The next question, Nicole will start. Please explain, this is what the questioner says, please explain the importance of comprehensive planning in government. What is Brookfield currently doing and what role would you play in pushing for different types of active planning? So I guess the question is really, do you have a comprehensive plan? Are you working through the items that are in it, or does Brookfield need to create a comprehensive plan?
Okay. Brookfield is currently working on a comprehensive plan. We are our new economic development and community development department is spearheading that process. And they will be, we feel it's really important to have the community's input on this as well. So we've already started some engagement sessions, getting some of the people, I've been in some of those meetings, we've got leaders from around the community in various groups that have been part of that process, and the more people will be part of that planning process. So yes, it is currently in a draft form, it is being worked on right now, and in the coming year we'll see a lot more about the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Michael?
When I first took office as village president, around 2006, we passed a 2020, it was called a master plan at that time. It was not necessarily at the level of the comprehensive plan process that we're in right now, but it was a good document at the time. I supported it, and we have made strides towards that. But as with any plan, it can't sit on the shelf. It needs to be updated. The 2020 master plan did have certain action items which we have followed through on. It talked about TIF districts, the creation of TIF districts, the updating of modern zoning ordinances, which we've recently passed a comprehensive zoning ordinance update. So we have a history of dealing with the plans and working forward, but it's clearly time, and again, with a grant through CMAQ, we've been able to start this process. And there was a little bit of fear that the county and state budget problem was going to delay this, but staff was able to work through, and we're right in the middle of this process. And I know a lot of people in this room have been involved in the community, but I hope even more will, because we need the input to make the plan work.
Thank you. Sherry?
Okay. I think it's always important to have a plan, and I know that there is a plan in place, and I did, you know, reading about all the different literature, and I think that moving forward, that we do need to get input and how we can better the plan or make the plan I lost my train of thought, to make the plan go forward. But I do agree. I mean, it's unfortunately, like I said, there's not economically. I mean, we have done a lot of things in town here, and so I don't know much more to add on to that.
Edward?
As they were saying, they have a comprehensive plan in draft. They have been meeting with people. They meet with the Chamber of Commerce. They've had some consultants come in. They've had people come into the board meetings to present items too. That's another reason why people need to come in and listen to the board meetings, because you'll hear all about the details of those comprehensive plans that they're looking at. Right now it is in draft, and that's about where it is at the moment, but please, come to the next few board meetings. You'll start hearing about it.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with Michael. I combined a couple here because there's actually alternating opinions. First of all, they just wanted to know when the economic director was hired by the current board. And their question is, why is it taking so long to attract businesses to Brookfield? The other person is saying downtown is starting to become vibrant, which is great. And what is the plan to get parking to the downtown area?
You know, the economic development process does take time. You heard President Ketchmark talk about how TIF districts were used in LaGrange and other places. And for those who don't know, TIF is a 23-year plan. So LaGrange just ended there, so it ended after 23 years, and you've seen the progress that's made there. We created the first TIF district in the Village of Brookfield on Ogden Avenue, and it's only 5 or 6 years into that, and we're beginning to see some of the process there. Economic development does move slow, but we are clearly moving in the right direction. It's what quantitative measures you want to use to judge economic development. You've heard that it's a fact, there were 99 new business licenses issued in the past 3 years. Sales tax, we had a record amount of sales tax last year. It might not fit people's convenient political message that things aren't going well. We're moving in the right direction. The amount of tax receipts for sales tax is up at the highest level it's ever been in the Village of Brookfield. That's because of the Economic Development Director, the planning that we've done, and the work of the Village Board.
Thank you, Sherry.
On that, I think that downtown Brookfield has grown, and I do see some businesses. I've seen some come in, some leave, but right now I know that some of the businesses, as far as beautification, I think that we can maybe develop some of those store front windows and make it look more appealing to some of the visitors or that come in through town. I think there was a question asked about how much the economic developer makes.
When was he hired?
When was he hired? Yeah, I don't have a clue about that. That's something that those that have been on the board longer would know that. But I mean, there's always room for economic growth. I think it's just getting there is a long process.
Edward?
I don't know how long he's been on the board. However, they have done a tremendous job in bringing businesses to Brookfield. Like you said, we have 99 new businesses. I think Mike was reading my notes, by the way. But they do have 99 new businesses. They did generate a record sales tax in 2016. LaGrange we're on the verge of really getting big financially. Our storefronts, the village board just passed in December, I believe it was. Again, please attend these board meetings by all means. In December, they passed a sign upgrade, like a storefront, a beautification thing where you can come to the village and they'll work with you to help you get a loan, an interest-free loan, to improve your storefront. They are doing things in our area.
Nicole?
Just to piggyback on that just a little bit, that is the signage modernization program that's applicable to businesses that are in the TIF districts. It is a no-interest sign program. I just want to say one thing, that it's important to know that economic development is not just about attracting a new business or a big business. It's about attracting people to Brookfield. It's about having residents to shop local and feel comfortable about shopping local and having options. But it's about attracting visitors. It's about attracting those families that are coming to play sports in our town. We've got AYSO with hundreds of families here. We have Little League, we have tournaments, we have Western Conference, we have these beautiful parks and open spaces. These are attractions in Brookfield that bring people here. So when people get here, and as well as like the Bike Brookfield event, all these things are economic development tools that we're using to put into place to both get people to Brookfield and to keep them here and want them to stay here, to go out for a bite to eat, to spend times in the parks. And anyway, sorry, I have to stop.
Thank
Keep
you.
going.
Next question, Sherry, I'll start with you. Are gangs in Brookfield a problem? And if so, what suggestions can you suggest?
I mean, gangs are a problem everywhere. Last year when there was a shooting at the skate park, my son happened to be there. He come running, I didn't know about it. He came running in home and ran to the door and had two of his buddies and said there was a shooting at the park. And I was like, what? And I'm like, well, okay, well, you don't go back there then. And they all played Little League, and there were games going on that night. So is there a problem, a big problem? I don't think it's a big problem, but I think that whenever you have a park like the skate park or wherever, I mean, a lot of times that would bring people just sitting around and gives them an open space to gather like that, that aren't familiar with the area. I love that skate park, I love that park, period. What we can do about it is be maybe a neighborhood watch. Have people that are there monitoring the parks and seeing if there's people that are there that they're not familiar with, other kids, how they're dressed.
Thank you. Edward?
We have the best first responders in the area, I believe. Our police force is outstanding. They really are. For people who want to get involved, they have Citizens Police Academy. You can get into that and become more involved in the community. I don't believe we have a gang problem. The police chief just gave a speech or presentation last year on the crime rate that we've had through Brookfield for the year, and it wasn't bad at all. We don't have a gang problem. Do we have incidents? We do, just like every other community in the area. But the best thing that we can do is you see something, you say something. Know your neighbor, get out in the community, take a walk, know everything that's going on. A good example is what just happened with the burglaries recently. It was called in because people noticed something that was out of place, and look how quickly that was solved. We do have crime like any other community. However, we have great first responders, and it's up to us as residents to keep an eye out as well.
Thank you. Yvonne? I know.
Sorry, it's back to me again. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that we have a gang problem here. I think that such the incident in the park that you mentioned that, maybe, remotely tied to gang activity, but I don't believe that that is originating in Brookfield or that it's a real problem. Public safety, certainly something that as a village board that we care deeply about, and it's one of our core services that we do focus on, and we're really proud of our police department and all of our first responders when there is an incident of any kind. But our police have incredible training. We do have, and Chief's going to be putting it on the website as well, this incredible presentation he had on how well prepared our police department is and how engaged they are with the community so that they know who the members of our community are. And I strongly believe that the community members should also be engaged and know who your neighbors are, know who your kids are hanging out with, and it will help a great deal.
Michael?
It seems like the gang issue or gang problem in Brookfield is a cyclical thing. I think it comes up every 2 years, about 2 months before an election. We do not have a gang problem. There have been some gang incidents. People put out that we have a gang problem for political reasons. We have a police department that is not just reactive, they're extremely proactive. We belong to WEDGE and MCAT and other task force that pool our resources, pool intelligence. Our chief and our supervisors in the police department meet and work with towns on a regular basis. We have some of the most experienced officers. Their cooperation and their work in the schools, they're getting into the schools younger and younger. Our children have a great relationship with our police department. We're taking steps. Yes, there are a few incidents. They are coming from other places. We try and make things difficult here, so they have to move on to other places. Can I tell there'll be never be another gang incident? No. But I'm very confident that we have the deterrent effect and the programs in place to prevent this from becoming a gang problem.
Thank you. Edward will start the next question. It's a general question somebody asked, how will you protect the environment in Brookfield? I guess what I would say is, do you have an environmental sustainability commission? Do you consider the environment when you enact any ordinances or any plans in the village?
Absolutely.
What do you do?
Brookfield has a green space program as well. So you can only have so much non-green space on your residence. And I can't remember, I'm sure one of them will correct me when it goes around. I want to say you have to have like 60% green space on all your property. They do have they implemented 3 swales, so what that is to help flooding control. You use natural environments, you use prairie grass and these different setups. You have ecologists come in and tell you how to do it. You set those up to help control the flooding area and keep the wildlife areas flowing as well. And it's more it's a lot with the flood control in Brookfield that they've been working on. It's a slow progress that they've been working on. But these items are taken consideration. Like Trustee Goholi said, just if you got me on that one, that's okay. Like Trustee Goholi just said, there were some pilots for green space areas and alleys. This is taken into consideration with Brookfield. A lot of green space. We are very proud to be a tree city. We are very proud to have a lot of green space here.
Nicole?
Okay. Yes, I was just starting to say too, we are a Tree City USA and have been for a long time now. We have a forestry department in Public Works that's very competent, and they are working at replanting program for a lot of those trees that had to be cut down in the last couple of years. We have two commissions in the village, the Beautification Commission as well as the Conservation Commission. They both have different charters, but they both are very involved with maintaining our green space within Brookfield. So from the Beautification Commission, doing 2 annual cleanup days with Project Nice in the spring and in the fall. Those are days to get all the community involved in protecting our environment. The Conservation Commission is tasked with maintaining the oak savanna here in Kiwanis Park. They do tremendous work. I think they actually have a cleanup day this weekend as well, so you can check the website, see if you want to help out with that. But they oversee that whole beautiful natural area and preserving that natural space in our village.
We have a great combination of staff and elected officials who are very passionate about green issues. We often have a spirited debate about it as it goes on, but some of our staff members have brought forward initiatives that the board has enacted. Our whole stormwater management ordinance, how we manage that with disconnection of the downspouts and other things, how we manage stormwater. Our public works department, instead of using so much salt, we're using the new treating substance that helps with snowfall, does not put much salt down in the streets, which not only gets your car dirty, but it also hurts plant life and other things and gets into the sewer system. All this. We're very involved in this. We've taken steps over the years. Our code cars are very, we have energy efficient code cars. We've taken steps just to new technology so our code department officials or employees can write up reports in the field and they're transmitted here so they don't have to drive back and forth. This is how staff thinks outside of the box. The board truly supports that, and these little incremental steps make a big difference in our environment.
Thank you. Sherry?
Great, so you had, the question was also about recycling, not just
Yeah.
green space, right?
Right, the environment
Right.
and what steps the community is doing or should be doing.
Okay. Well, I think as far as the recycling goes, it's important to make sure that when it comes to recycling, like all the plastic bottles that are laying around, and making sure everything is put in the recycle bins correctly, using the bins that are out there. We have the rain, using your rain barrels. As far as green space, I'm not an expert on that. I really don't know. Sorry, I was ill-prepared for something like this. I don't have a correct answer. I'm not going to try to make something up. But I recycle myself, so I hope everyone else is recycling as well.
Thank you. Okay, well, I think I do have a few more questions here, but I think a lot of them are specific to individual people, so I encourage everyone that if your question wasn't answered, that you feel free to discuss it with the appropriate person and get your answer. At this time, I'd like to move on to the closing statements. And like I said, we'll go in reverse order, so we'll start with Nicole.
Okay. A vote for me and the other PUP candidates is a vote for strong leaders who are dedicated to the community through their actions and their words. It is a vote for continued solid financial management of tax dollars, grant funds, and other sources of revenue. It is a vote for short and long-term development of our business districts and continued investment in our infrastructure. It is a vote for leaders who will focus on quality of life in a community of engaged citizens of all ages. We've come so far in recent years in Brookfield. We have a balanced budget. We have over $12 million in competitive grant awards, money we didn't have to ask our residents for. We've completed over $35 million in street improvements in the last 10 to 12 years. We've seen longtime business owners significantly reinvesting in their businesses and almost 100 new businesses opening, all resulting in record sales tax revenue for the village. I hope that you will put your trust in me, Mike Garvey, Ed Cote, Kit Ketchmark, and Bridget Weber to keep our village that we care deeply about moving in the right direction. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here tonight, for sharing your questions, and for being a part of the process.
Thank you. Edward?
I'd like to stress that our current leadership has made great strides in laying down the groundwork for progress in Brookfield. Our TIF districts, road improvement programs, park improvement, our green programs, these are just the tip of the iceberg of what we got going on here. We have accomplished so much, it's attracted new residents, our community has grown. Development and growth does take a lot of time, though. We have experienced growth during recent years, but now we're at the verge of economic boom, I think, in Brookfield. I firmly believe that. But that is all because of the groundwork that has been laid down by our management, by our village council, our village boards over the past 10 years. These things take time, and we're on that verge now. We must stay this course. We must continue down this path. A vote for these people, a vote for PEP is a vote for long, sustainable economic development. So please vote for Kit Ketchmark, Mike Garvey, Nicole Gilhooly, Bridget Weber, and of course me.
Sherry?
Hi, so I know that, we're new to the town, as far as the new party. Just because that we are new doesn't mean that we're not concerned. We do care about the town. We would like to be able to see it grow, to be even bigger and better. I know that we, have some great ideas. And I know that we can make those work and go forward. I just hope that with all the questions that have come up and my knowledge or the lack of knowledge of some of the giving you the right answers, like I said, it's just new to me, and to all the people that are running on the Common Sense Party. But we do, please, if you have any concerns, you can ask us on the website that is now up, the commonsenseparty.net. Also on Brookfield Connections. We're not going to go back and forth with arguing, but we will answer your questions.
Thank you. Michael?
I'm not going to repeat, I had a prepared statement. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. It's very nice to see this many people sitting in a boardroom. Myself and Nicole and the other board members have sat up there, and we put on a board meeting for Bob Up Hughes and staff members, basically. So I appreciate people coming out. At some point, though, the people that show up here have to make the decisions. I understand people have busy lives and they have other things. I applaud, I know Sherry very well, and I consider her a very nice person. I know her involvement with veterans organizations, and she does volunteer for Brookfield Little League. But this is an important job and an important position. It takes a lot of time. It's not something that you learn on the fly. If you have great ideas, we have a public comment session during every meeting. There's a flyer that says they want an independent, transparent budget process. We talked and passed a budget over the course of 6 meetings where nobody showed up or nobody gave any input. Sherry was asked, did you come to any village board members with any issues? She didn't necessarily answer the question, but none of the other board members or the candidates have ever approached myself and wanted to talk about an issue. Ask what their motivation is for asking to be elected right now. Please support the people that you can trust with the experience. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Excuse me?
Do we know where the video will be posted?
I'm in charge of somehow getting it on YouTube. I may have to get consult my children to help me out, but that will be posted on the League of Women Voters website.
Okay.
And I will spread the information to the candidates so they can order it accordingly.